Okay, so this video is going to be a few minutes longer. I'm just going to go into some details about how to place objects, how to move them, how to work with them. Okay, so once you've got the program up and running, you'll want to start thinking about the challenge itself and what you're going to put into it. So as an example, I'm just going to click on a 3D object from the left hand side. I'm going to pick this one as an example. I just drag and drop it anywhere onto the screen in front of me. Okay. Now, the first thing I'm going to do here, to be honest, is because I know it's difficult to see this white background, is I'm actually going to change this background to something else. And I've already downloaded an image which is kind of suitable for what we're doing here. So I'm going to go up to where it says environment and make sure that the environment is the one that I've clicked on, not the bottle. Okay, so I clicked on the environment. And you notice then the actions I can do and the different properties I can change down here. And one of those options is background. So if I click onto background, I have an option to drag in and drop in a picture, or I can go to my file browser and I can choose it. And I've got my cheesy bathroom example here. I'm going to download it. There you go. All right. Now think about the angle of something you're using as a background here. Make sure it kind of matches what's best for your product. Now obviously at the moment my product seems to be floating in the middle of the sink. So I'm going to use the left button, I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to drop it, and I'm going to position it somewhere in front of me. And you can see that I can change the angle of my project to try and match as best I can the actual grid pattern or the actual view that we've got here in front of us, right? And I can move that product back out of the way, look over here, and again I can right click and try and change the angle a bit, okay? Doesn't be spot on, but we can get it kind of close, right? Okay, all right, so let's bring this to the front again just so we can see what we're doing here. So first thing I'm going to do is show you that, look, okay, you can rotate your product around, okay? So if you're putting a label particularly on it somewhere, or it's got a weird shape and you want to change the lighting on it, the nice easy way is just to turn it around like this, okay? Think of a suitable angle to show it off, right? Maybe it's, you know, sitting here on this desktop or this worktop. Okay. The next thing you'll notice once if I click off the object, click back on it, you'll see on the right hand side things change. So watch that again. If I escape to click off that object and then click back on it, you'll notice things are changing here. Okay. All right. And for example, not always, sometimes the object doesn't sit on the surface, right? So maybe your object comes in or you doesn't fit exactly where you want it to. Remember, you've got this grid, so you can click on the object and then choose this button here, which will move it to the ground and pop it back on the ground. Maybe you want it on top of another object which is already there, like in the example that I showed you at the start of this PowerPoint. So this is a useful way of making sure that you're not missing anything or you're not floating the object too far above something. Okay. So the object itself, look, is split into three sections. We've got the lid. We got the seal around the lid, the safety ring they call it, and the bottle itself. And I can change all of these different items. So let's click on the bottle itself. Okay, so if I click on the body of the bottle. Now if I minimize these by closing them up, I don't really need to see these again at the moment. I can look at my materials now, right? And now I can go down through my materials and choose what I like the look of. Now here's the thing, a lot like in other CAD software, you want to make sure you go by the material really rather than the look of the material to start with. So I perhaps might want, I don't know, it's like a fine grain plastic or let's go with a matte material. So maybe I want this one here. So I have two ways I can do this. I can click on it and apply it to just the part I selected, or I could have clicked on the whole bottle by clicking at the top there and apply it to the whole bottle. Okay, all right, so we've got it on there. Just got to edit undo again and show you that again. Edit undo, okay, and then put it back on the bottom. Now you can see it's a matte material, so immediately, all right, you'll notice the reflection has gone from this. It's not bouncing the light around like it was to start with. Okay, so bear that in mind. Okay, the second thing I can do to this now is I might not want it to be grey. I want this matte material, but I don't necessarily want grey. So if I click on the bottle, I can come down here and I can change the properties of this. Alright, so I've got different options down here that I can then play about with. Alright, And if I click here, for example, I can select material, and then I can change the color of that base material. So at the moment it's over here. Maybe I want it to be a darker color, right? Maybe I like, I don't know, that's going back to my example, isn't it? Maybe I want it to be blue, for example. So let's go with a blue color. All right. Okay, and I just click somewhere off that to change that. All right. Now, if you've got a material like wood, imagine it's made from wood. It's not, but imagine it was. Imagine I choose this one instead. Okay, and it's made from wood. I've now got, if you look over here on the right hand side, a lot more options. So we've got what we call the base color, which is the underneath color here, but then I've got all these different color options on top. All right, and again, I can change the angle of that pattern if I want to by rotating the picture. But if I click here, maybe I don't want this picture anymore, right? Maybe I want to scale it perhaps, or maybe I want to change the angle of it, or rotate it. So maybe it looks better if I rotate it 90 degrees perhaps. Okay, maybe I don't want it to look like brown wood, so maybe I'm going for that recycled look, that environmentally friendly, sustainable packaging kind of appearance. So maybe I still want that, but I want it in a different color, right? So maybe even though I've got this wooden product, this maybe it's made from bamboo perhaps or something, right? But I can still play about with the colors here, you can see, right? Okay, so I can play about with things here. And I can change things around, and I can do what I want with my material. Okay, all right, and then I can do the same thing obviously to the other parts. So I could keep applying materials to the other parts. Maybe this top part here, for example, right, the lid of the bottle. Maybe I want the lid of the bottle to be made from this one. Okay, and I would assume that if you're going to make the lid of the bottle from that one, that the safety ring on the bottle is going to be the same thing, right? So maybe I do the same thing here. Okay, now if I've applied a material, I can click here, and when I click on colors, you'll see that the recent materials I've been applying are here. So don't worry about forgetting a particular shade that you happen to have dragged to on your way around. Okay, all right. Oh, I don't want it. Maybe let's go with blue. Safety ring. Let's have a look. Let's go with blue. All right, we'll click blue on this one as well here, shall we? Lid. We'll go with blue. Okay. All right. So there's a basics of applying materials. Okay, we've looked at moving it around. So once I've got my materials, again, if I minimize these, I can then play a bit of lighting. Okay, so I'm not going to have sunlight in if I'm inside, for example. But maybe I've got a ceiling light, so I can just drag and drop and adjust the lighting on my picture. Be careful when you've got shadows. You can see the shadow here at the moment on my bottle is pointing off to the left, whereas if I look at the shadows on the other items in the picture, they're all pointing off to the right. Okay, so what I want to make sure I do here is rotate that. So as I click on the rotate button on the right hand side, you can see that I can drag the shadows around and adjust them, and I can change the height of the shadow and the intensity of shadow as well. Okay, all right, so play about carefully with how you use shadow. I think it's probably going to be more here, right? Looks a bit more like it. There we go. All right. Okay, another thing I can do is change the background like I showed you. I can apply one of these onto it. I can use my own if I want to. I can scale images. And the last thing you can do is apply a decal to it. So maybe, for example, I've saved a nice image like I did on the example with a palm tree. Maybe for this one perhaps we finished playing about with lighting, so I'm going to close directional lighting. I'm going to close those. I don't want to add an image, but I do want to add maybe a sticker or a logo to it. Okay, so there's a couple of ways I can do that. I can add one of these to it straight away here, or I can apply it to the bottle itself up here. So if I click on bottle, I can apply a surface logo to it. Okay, so perhaps, I don't know, fire, that looks quite cool. Let's drag and drop that onto the surface of my image here. There we go. So now look, you can see I've got this circle going around it, and I can drag my bottle around. You can see how that's being applied to it, right? So I don't necessarily want that being applied in that particular way. So maybe I want to scale it. And if I want to scale it equally, hold the control button down, and oops, sorry, take that back, hold the shift button down, and drag that, and you can scale it around, and you can move this around, and you'll notice as we move it, it follows the contour of the shape, right? So you can see how the sticker is following the contour of the shape of the object that I've got, which is kind of cool. So maybe I just want it on this side over here, so I'm going to hold shift again and scale that down just a little bit, and maybe I'm going to apply it here to the side of the object, right? Okay, there we go. Okay, so press escape when I'm happy with that. Alright, so once you set your view up, and remember now you're being asked to set up a few of these, not just the one. Once you've set your object up, you can see I still play about with it. Like, once you set your object up, okay, and you are happy that you've got everything the way you want it to, then the next video is going to show you very quickly how to use the rendering package. Okay, remember to save things as you're going.